Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Welcome all new listeners and welcome back to those who have heard my content in the past. If you want to know what it's like to treat athletes 5 to 7 days a week and the challenges and opportunities that we have as sports PTs, you need to tune into this episode. Before I go on to the podcast, what is new? What is better? Life is great. I have been in and out of the sauna. If you guys don't know, the sauna is like my go-to. It's my think tank, if I can tell you that. Imagine being alone for an hour in 160-degree temperature and what goes on in your brain 7 days a week for an hour. It has been a sauna week, which has been fantastic. The kids are doing great. We went on a family trip recently, so it's been good. My son Zach turns 7 years old this week, which I'm really excited about. And my kids are just doing great. Life is fantastic, and right now I just want to keep it status quo. I like stability every once in a while. I do like chaos, but I do enjoy my stability at times. So on to this podcast. Why are we talking about treating athletes 5 to 7 days a week? This comes from an actual case that I reviewed with a sports PT, and the question came about because an athlete asked, "Can I see you every day?" And that's an interesting question to a sports PT, right? And if you ask me that question, if an athlete asks me that question, I salivate, right? Like I love working with athletes, and there's a lot I can do. And the response that I get from common sports PTs is, you don't need that much. You, you don't have to see me that much. Now, this is an interesting scenario because the client, the patient, the athlete, the client, whoever this is, they are asking for your services more than you think that they need. So now you're in a dilemma. What do I do here? I know that they actually only need 2 days of hands-on work or 4 days of rehab. They don't need 7. Then it becomes, well, what's ethical? What do I do? What's the best case scenario? What's in their best interest? All of those scenarios. And most PTs would say, hey, I only think I need to see you twice, maybe 3 times a week, especially if you're not post-operative, right? That's the scenario I get. And what I'm going to present to you today is, if that was you and you were presenting that scenario, you're underserving the people that you have, or they have the potential to. So, and I'll explain why it's your fault that you can't see them 7 days, even if they wanted to. And everything, you have the power to do it. And I'll outline how you would phrase that, what you would do inside 7 days. What do you do? And then how do you fill that time and make sure that you feel good about providing that service, that that person's getting the value and the outcome that they need and want. And so that way, when you attack future athletes on your schedule, you know that you have more power to serve them. And so that's why I'm talking about this today, because it's real. You've never had an athlete say, hey, I want to see you 4 days or 5 days, Monday through Friday, and you've probably backed them down because you're like, oh, you don't need that. I can just do everything inside 2 days. Before we jump into whatever it is that you think you're going to do, let's talk about the athlete and the patient, right? I've said this before on previous podcasts. We have 3 main services that we can provide for people, right? The first one is education. I think that's where we thrive. That's where everything school has taught us, blah, blah, blah. It's what you research, blah, 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 right? You are like the education expert. And that includes, exercises and whatever it is, feedback, biofeedback, whatever it is, right? So it's the thing that you specialize in. I have an education, and I can give you things so you can set up yourself for success by being independent, managing yourself, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. That's probably about 80% of your caseload. And then there's the other 2, which is accountability. Now, these are athletes and patients who have, they're smart. They are able to go on YouTube, Google, and solve the problems by themselves. The problem is they won't do it by themselves. So they kind of need somebody there to be able to help them. So if you've ever had a personal trainer or a tutor to help you with something, you probably could do it on your own, but you know yourself, you know your personality. You're like, I just know I'd rather have somebody, I'd rather pay somebody or hire somebody to tell me to show up every day. And that's why certain professions and certain services exist, purely because you know you're not going to do it. So it's better, like meal prep companies. That's a great one. You mean to tell me you don't have the skills to go to the grocery store and make a sandwich, make a salad? But you're like, no, the reason why I won't do that and make my own is because I know I won't do it to the same degree. I'll cheat or whatever it is. So the reason why people do meal prep companies is so that they don't have to do that. It's an accountability thing, right? Like they have a target. And the reason why they're hiring this company is because it's in their best interest to achieve the goal that they want. Now you got to think, wait a minute, there's patients you're currently serving who are doing the same thing for you, that they can YouTube, they can Google, but they're using you as the meal prep company. And that's fair because otherwise they wouldn't do it themselves. They're not going to stretch. They're not going to stabilize. They're not going to mobilize. They're not going to do the things that you're educating them on. And so while you think that education is a primary for a lot of these people, it's purely accountability. I just need to show up or else I won't do this, whether it's weekly, biweekly, monthly, whatever it is that you do. And that's ultimately what dentists thrive on, right? You have semi-annual or annual like dental exams because you're not going to do it to the same degree that they would. For the same reason you get meal prep and go to the dentist, people are hiring you for the accountability. And PTs have a hard time seeing that. They're like, no, they can just fix it on themselves. So can you. You can cook for yourself, but you choose not to. And we fail to see that our service can be chosen. Like they can choose to come to see us. They don't have to because somebody referred them and their insurance approves us. People can have the choice. And if you're a sports PT and you understand that and you work in a clinic, people come to see you for a choice. And if that's the case, they're not just here for education. They're now seeing you for the support, which can be tied to accountability. The last part is this is more common in anybody who works in a setting where you provide like post-treatment, post-discharge programs, wellness programs. Maybe you have a gym inside where you do maybe a little bit of personal training, or you do a little bit of training inside your rehab process, and it's kind of mixed and mingled. Some people come to you for the motivation. They love your personality. They love what you can do. They love how you make them feel. And you know what that feeling looks like because it's probably reciprocated. You enjoy these people being in front of you. You're like, gosh, great session. I love when they're on my schedule. Yeah, they're seeing you for the education. They're probably seeing you for a little accountability, but they're probably seeing you because you get them fired up and it gets them like on to the next week and they know they're on the right track. So people come to see you for those three main reasons: education, motivation, and accountability. Now, what you need to do is understand, how does this tie into 7 days a week? So the question became, I understand they come to see us for three times for those three services, three types of things. What would I do that I feel good that I'm providing value to somebody for 7 days? And that's where the question and problem lies. So after working pro sports and working with pro athletes, and for those of you who don't know, I worked as a concierge physical therapist. I used to travel domestically and internationally for private hire. So I would do a 3-month stint with a private professional tennis player or an NBA player or NFL player. So I would fly out to homes and I would be there for 6 weeks, or I travel with them to a tournament. And I would basically live with them and travel with them day in, day out. And that's where I was first exposed. Like, what am I going to do every single day? I can only stretch you and do manual work so often. I can only give you exercises, but you have a game next day. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So what I figured out was, wow, I'm no longer a sports physical therapist. I am a healthcare provider who happens to specialize in sports physical therapy, but I also realized I had to develop other tools because I realized that I was running their health. I was managing their health, not their musculoskeletal system. I was managing everything from their nutrition to understanding meds, to understanding their integumentary system, to managing their cardiovascular health, to managing so many more levels. And I was like, gosh, sports PT was just a portal of entry into this because I didn't need to be an expert. I just needed to have a foundation in things that would only help them and reduce the risk of their performance dropping or deteriorating, such as what do we eat before a tournament? How often? What types of carbohydrates? Do they have to be easy to digestible? Will they have a GI upset? What about if we just landed? When should we schedule the flight? How many days before the event? I want to avoid jet lag. All these questions came up. Well, of course, I have to go to the sources. You start finding people who are experts in the field, and you start contacting them on a sports psych. What am I doing the day of the match? What do I need to ensure that this person stays calm, heart rate is controlled until the time of the match, and even during the match? So when I traveled, I realized, yeah, the musculoskeletal system was important. However, when I learned to control it all and manage it all, at that point, I understood how to manage somebody's health, not their injury. And when an athlete comes to see you and they say, hey, I want to come here 7 days a week, you have an opportunity to explore other avenues to manage someone's health. And that might be in the form of supporting their nutrition and informing them of what proper or better nutrition might be to decrease the risk of injury. Maybe they're not taking in as much protein as they need. Maybe they're not sleeping as much, and that's why they're always injured. What if they're not drinking water and having good hydration throughout the day? And that's why they're having fatigue. That's why they can't sleep. What if they need help with their warm up daily and they don't listen? They need you there. What if they need help with the strength and conditioning program and they didn't even know that was important? You're over here trying to figure out the knee pain when their whole system and everything about their schedule is messed up. So they're actually wasting your time because, yeah, you fixed the knee, but if 80% of their week doesn't do anything that's productive for their performance or health, why are you spending time on the 10% over here that won't change dramatically how they improve or perform across a week, across a month, across a year? And it's only because we've never been seen that light. Well, how about if they ask, I want to be here 7 days? Great. What do you need help with? I don't know. I just need you to help me conquer this knee. Sounds good. Let's start with some fundamental questions. Back up a little bit. When is your season? When is the next game? When's the next tournament? What do you do for strength and conditioning? How frequent? What type? How much time do you spend? What does your recovery look like? Start entering the portals that you've always dreamed of, but never fulfilled on. So by saying no to somebody for 7 days and saying, I don't think you need my help, what you're saying is, I currently don't have the skill set or knowledge or awareness to be able to help you for 7 days. I only know how to manage knee pain, not your health. That's what you're saying when somebody says, I need help 5 to 7 days. Now, you're right. Maybe you don't need to manage their knee pain 7 days a week, but what has led to the knee pain? Why did it get there? How did it get there? What are the priorities? Where are they getting stumped? That's your job. What is the volume or intensity that led to the knee pain? Were they not sleeping? What was nutrition? What was their recovery? All you're doing is exploring more in somebody's health. And if you can't manage somebody's health, you will always be stuck inside managing the same problem that will never go away because you're never hitting the root. And this is why I really appreciated working with a multidisciplinary team. On the team, I think we had 11 providers. I think we had everything from a massage therapist to an athletic trainer to a physical therapist to a primary care physician to an ortho to an acupuncturist to a dietitian to the strength and conditioning professional to the tactical or technical coach. And there was more people inside this team. And everybody had a different element that they specialized in. But that root of it was the athlete, and everybody else was trying to solve the problem. So what I realized is they have skills that I don't. And so when I travel and manage somebody's health, I need to develop those skills at the most basic fundamental level to help somebody understand that it's not just about movement and ground reaction forces. It's about managing workload and recovery across a week, across a month, across a quarter to help reduce their risk of developing something that can be prevented. So a physical therapist is already too late. They're already too late in the cycle before they come to see him, meaning that pain should have been prevented. So whose job was that? I mean, there's multiple factors on here. Now, if they're in the professional world, strength and conditioning takes a big portion of this and understanding stress and strain across time. And that's why progressive overload is so critical. So strength and conditioning will take that over. They'll work with a technical coach to match demands to be in line with being in their off season, in season, preseason, postseason. The physical therapist, under normal outpatient orthopedic settings, is only ready to catch whatever is already too late. They've been working so hard with no control, no variability, no progressive overload, with no oversight, with no recovery, poor nutrition, and they finally got hurt. We only get the aftermath and we obsess over the aftermath and hope that that's the thing that's going to get them back to sport. When in reality, there was a whole layer of things that got them to that point. So when somebody says, I need to see you 5 to 7 days a week, you're saying, that's perfect. As a physical therapist, I'll put on my hat 2 or 3 days a week. What other hats do you want me to wear? Do you have a strength and conditioning coach? Do you have a personal trainer? Do you have a dietitian? Do you have a massage therapist? Do you have an athletic trainer? Do you have anybody in your wheelhouse that can help you with this? And when they say no, you're like, perfect. That's how I can help you. I might not need physical therapy 7 days a week, but what I can do is help you with your health, help manage your health and reduce your risk of pain be the limiter to your performance and everything that you do. And when you can change the way, not just the way they think, because they're coming to you with the opportunity and idea. Most of the time, it's a physical therapist saying, no, you don't need that much physical therapy. Who said that they need physical therapy that many days? The patient or athlete didn't say, I need you physical therapy 5 to 7 days. I need your help 5 to 7 days. Can I see you 5 to 7 days? What they're asking for is, are you able to see me 5 to 7 days to help me with accountability, motivation, education within different specialties such as nutrition, strength and conditioning, physical therapy, acute injury management, soft tissue work, prehabilitation, rehabilitation, sports psychology? Can you help me with all of that? That's what they're asking, but they don't know how to say that. So when you say as a physical therapist, no, you don't need my services, what you're saying is, I don't know how to manage this. And so I don't know anything else to say, but no, I'm going to see you 2 times a week for your knee pain. But I'm not going to solve the rest of your problems. I'm not going to be able to solve those because I actually don't even know how to. So as a profession, if you listen to my last podcast, if our profession is saying we want to go to that next level and manage people's health and be able to support people across the continuum, when you say no to helping somebody 5 to 7 days a week, you're actually going against that philosophy. You're actually going against the grain saying, I want it, can know how to deliver it. So I'm not going to treat you 5 to 7 days. You need to reframe how you think, gain the skills to be able to deliver on a basic fundamental service on all of the domains within health, within your scope, within your practice. What's wrong with that? Nothing, because you get to serve more people, produce better outcomes, and you get the thrill of learning something bigger and better than just knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain. I love those things. I think those are great, but I think you can do them in your sleep. At some point, you have to realize that you're only digging people out of a hole, and that's fantastic, but you're not progressing anybody. You're just getting them back to baseline. And if you enjoy just getting people back to baseline and that's the end point because you don't know how to do anything else, that's totally fine too. But if you are excited about getting somebody out of that, out of pain, getting them away from those aches and pains, and then taking them to the next level, with better recovery strategies, improving their health with better nutrition, and understanding progressive overload, true strength and conditioning. Get them out for a 6-week block of muscular endurance, hypertrophy, strength, power, and develop that and work with coaches and get them fired up and actually have an impact instead of getting them back to the game that they wanted to. How about you get them to the game and beyond and help them become an MVP? And get them into college, work with strength conditioning coaches so you can team up and take people to the next level. Now, if you're like me, you dream about that, you salivate, you're like, that's ultimately what everything I want to do. Correct. If that's everything you want to do, by saying 5 to 7 days, I don't want to see you, you'll never reach that point. You'll always be stuck in getting people back to baseline, doing the same soft tissue, looking for the best new exercise that's around when it's staring at you and you're just refusing to help it support someone. Stop looking for new exercises. Stop trying to look for the next brace, the next thing that's going to help them overcome that back pain. The reason why they have the back pain is because they have so much stress and strain across the week that you're not identifying that and figuring out where that problem lies. And that's why they continue to happen. So every single exercise that you try doesn't impact them. It doesn't improve their situation. And you're over here blaming it on, well, it's just because you're not compliant. Well, it's just you didn't respond well to this treatment. No, it's because you have one hat and you're wearing that one hat. You got nothing else in the toolbox. So rather than focus on developing that toolbox, how about you gain some more toolboxes so you can wear multiple hats and actually look at somebody's health to become a healthcare provider, not just a physical therapist. Yes, we go to school for a huge degree. Great work. Love that. But that was just the entry point to somebody's health. It was the excuse, an opportunity that they came to you. And now your job is, hey, Mr. Richardson, I understand you have shoulder pain, and we're going to conquer that. But before we conquer that and get on to this next progression, this next plan, what's the thing that you want to actually do once the shoulder is 100%? I see. You want to be able to go to the gym 5 to 7 days a week. That's perfect. Why? Improve your fitness, be able to do the things that you love, play with your kids, have the social network that you love and enjoy. Perfect. My exercises and everything that I do inside physical therapy is going to help you get back to that point. But here's what I would want to do. I don't want to just let you go because it's going to be this cycle. I'd like to look at your form. I'd like to look at how you work out across a week versus being haphazard and just showing up to the gym. I'd like to be purposeful and help you identify where the risks are so you don't have to see me in pain again. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at your form. We're going to look at your strength and conditioning profile. I'd also like to ask and figure out more about your sleep and recovery strategies so that you're recuperating. You have the recovery strategies to be able to sustain the load and stress. You don't risk it from coming back. And then you miss out on 6 weeks of the thing that you love. Now, the first 6 weeks are going to be out of pain management. The following 6 weeks are going to be focused on progressive overload and helping you get stronger, more mobile, and enjoying the gym 6 to 7 days just as you want it. But it's going to require more than just hands-on work and exercises. We really have to make a change in your daily activities. You're not going to meet anyone who's like, nah, I don't want that help. I'm good. Tell me who would solve that problem for them. Their personal athletic trainer, their personal massage therapist, their personal physical therapist, or personal primary care. Primary care is too busy figuring out if they're ill or not, or if they're dying. They're not going to do it. Massage therapist is going to be like, tissue looks good. I don't see what the problem is. Their personal trainer is going to be like, mechanics look good, but they're not going to take them out of pain and beyond. And now looking at mechanics that are specific to them and being able to look at the nutrition and recovery and everything else. Their athletic trainer, great. They probably have 50 people inside the gym, or they have 50 people in their football team, or whatever it is. They might be overloaded. Now, you are primed to be this one person who can help navigate all of these scenarios and be their healthcare provider. So yes, while we pride ourselves on being a doctor of physical therapy or a physical therapist, a sports physical therapist, or a sports clinical specialist, I think you need to back up a little bit and understand that you are a healthcare provider and you can have so much more of a better impact, larger impact, long term by being a healthcare provider who happens to specialize in sports physical therapy. So if you ask, should I see somebody 5 to 7 days? Question becomes, do you know how to do? Do you know what to do? What would you do? And there's your answer. So if you say, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it, and I don't know what I would do, that's a lack in skill, not in will. Because I'm sure if it was will, you'd probably want to be part of this. But the challenge is you don't even know what you would do. I would tell you, you have to gain the skill set of all of these domains. And that's why inside sports clinical specialist exam, there's I think 8 or 9 domains or whatever it is nowadays. And ultimately, you just need to understand you don't have to take the SES to do this. I think you just need to explore other avenues of how to manage somebody's health and take CEU courses on that, not on the thing that you already know and you're great and you can do the thing in your sleep. You're just reinforcing the same things. And that's where you don't need to be. You need to be doing the things that you're not strong at and other avenues that you can support someone's health across a lifespan, across a continuum. And what that'll do is help you work with somebody 5 to 7 days a week. So there you have it. That's my podcast. I'm very passionate about this. I love when anybody gives me an opportunity to work with them that many days. And if you were fearful now or before and you now get too excited, it's an easy answer. You shouldn't say no. It should be, what do you need and how can I help? And if that fires you up and you love this stuff and you're like, hey, this is what I want out of my career, I would highly recommend you either take one of my courses, join my academy, be part of something that helps. Because what ultimately I've realized is you'll hear this and you'll go back to the same way of treating all over again. Why? Because it's what you know. So people go towards what's familiar. And if you are finding yourself stuck inside that same wheel, that same hamster wheel, you'll always be there. And what you need is somebody, some group to be able to keep you high and away from the same mundane, like 3 out of 10, 12, 20 to 12 exercises, the green band, blah, blah, blah. It's the same stuff. And you're just stuck inside that wheel. And that's what gets you in there. And that's why you respond. It doesn't make sense to see somebody 5 to 7 days. It's just because you haven't thought that way. And my academy is perfect for those who are looking for something different. They're looking for an opportunity to gain more than just a sports PT or credentials, or they don't want to do a residency. They've done a residency, whatever it is. You're looking for something different, and you just want to treat people at a higher level and offer more. And if that's for you, that's where my academy is just absolutely perfect. And if you want to gain just a little bit of exposure, my Kickstarter online self-study is perfect for you. If you love working with barbell athletes and you look at working with CrossFitters and powerlifters, and this kind of seems like it fits naturally, then my barbell course would be perfect for you, which is coming up on October 28th and 29th, both remote or virtual and in person in San Diego. And you can register at drchrisgarcia.com/barbell. In either case, I just want you to widen your lens, get outside the normal clinic approach of this is my domain, this is my wheelhouse, this is where I stay. If you want to just blur the lines, who cares about the norms? Who cares what everybody else does? And this is where you're like, this is my next step. Then this is the next step for you. And I can tell you, because I've been doing this for a long time, and it took somebody, a personal mentor of mine, to really wake me up and give me the opportunity to widen that lens. And once I hit pro sports, it was over, because that's the only way I see it now. So anybody who's treating in a clinic, I'm like, oh my goodness, you're at 10% of your total potential, because there's so much you can do. And that's why I see the people I mentor. I'm like, oh, let's just keep pulling you out, set you up for success. And there you have it. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast wherever you are. I hope you're thriving and enjoying life and staying fit. So other than that, I will see you guys on the next episode. Take care.